Oh, there's a nice little game on PSN called ZZZ. It's not a sleep simulator, it's a very intriguing and interesting little game that I'm gonna talk about now. The first time I caught wind of Zenless Zone Zero was through a trailer that dropped on the IGN channel completely out of the blue. Upon clicking it, I am welcomed by those sick-ass gorgeous looking stylized cel-shaded graphics and some wacky characters. Then, I forget about it. Several months later, I hit PSN and see those familiar faces. Especially the dude with the guns, who's called Billy Kid by the way, now that I'm familiar with the game. I was pleasantly surprised to know the game was completely free. I dig the graphics, I'm curious about it, and then it's free of charge, no moolah, no skrill involved. Alright, then let's try it. I did. Upon booting the game, I find out it's developed by MiHoYo, the same folks responsible for Genshin Impact. I simply dabbled in Genshin Impact. I didn't play as much as some of my friends, and my surface level knowledge of it came down to gacha game and plenty of waifu material. Turns out, truly indeed, ZZZ is also a gacha game. And I'm gonna skip talking about gacha mechanics and loot boxes yada yada, just like I skipped spending money on the game. I'm simply enjoying its different aspects, so now I'm gonna dive right in. Before I get to what I consider the best, coolest parts of the game, let me just get the not so savory out of the way first. There's a lot, but I mean a lot of resources you get from missions that it would be hard to keep track. Thankfully, I'm not. The player will use them to upgrade characters, their skills and gear. I don't worry too much about them, I simply collect whatever the missions give me. Being a freemium game, one can also expect a bit of daily login activities and tons of menus that will be flooded with notification signs as you progress, featuring claimable goods. Now, I'll explore the aspects that gripped me the most in this game. The art style. The graphics are quite flashy with the anime-style character designs and vivid colors. There are two types of cutscenes throughout the game that look gorgeous, the pre-rendered ones and the static comic panels. Aside from cutscenes, plenty of character interactions will take place, having characters standing in front of the camera exchanging dialogue. So I can say I find the look and feel quite appealing. The next is the character designs. Many of them are what I call over-designed. Usually they wear plenty of accessories, there's things hanging in their costume, and a wild mix of color. There's a lot going on in most of them. Having said that, I like most of them. For instance, Billy Kid with a jacket that might just be inspired by Canada's. There's even a little detail that looks like the Akira logo. Then there's NB Nicole and Lycano, a straight-up wolf man who reminds me of Wargarurumon, who fits nicely in the lineup of characters seeing as there's a cat lady. But I don't mean a single woman, I mean, for real, she's pretty much this game's Felicia. Next is animation. The animations in this game are just cream of the crop, chef's kiss, so good. The action is mostly exaggerated and the animations are rich in detail. When a character moves, usually everything will flow along like hair, clothes and accessories. Characters are usually fast and easy to handle but still give a sense of weight when in motion, and when it comes to combat, the different attacks flow nicely one after the other. You can cancel one attack animation into another during your gameplay, but if you want to take your time to appreciate each of them, you can. Each character will display an extension of their personality through animation, such as their mannerisms when bringing themselves to a halt after sprinting, how they attack or return to their fighting stance, or even how these petite little girls handle weapons that look extremely unwieldy. That thing looks like a giant door hinge. Gameplay. The gameplay is quite gripping. It's one of the aspects that kept me coming back over the past few days. It is split into three parts: combat zones, grid navigation, and exploration. In the combat zones is where the magic happens. Characters have a basic string of usually 4 attacks and a special, which depending on a few circumstances will become an EX special. They can also sprint and dash. Despite the simplicity, each character feels distinct enough in your trio. I consider two different ends of the spectrum when it comes to games. On one side, the hardcore, like fighting and Souls games, and the chill games. Zenless Zone Zero fits nicely into the latter category. It's what I've been playing to chill out. That said, the combat requires enough dexterity, which is something I enjoy. For instance, there will be an orange flash when an enemy is about to attack. When that happens, the player can either dodge, which when done perfectly is going to trigger a slow-mo effect similar to a witch time from Bayonetta, or press the character switch button for a sick transition.
交叉火力。选择
最后一下交给我。
教教你这儿的规矩。来磨爪子了。
That's clean. Good.
with the other characters swooping in, kicking some ass, or performing an awesome parry. And that's just plain awesome. Man, the sound design in this game is another praiseworthy aspect. I'm never tired of the sound of metal clashing when I switch characters. The sound effect is as good as Sekiro's sword clashing SFX. The other gameplay style is a grid composed of classic TV sets the player will traverse, collecting items, solving minor puzzles, and getting into the aforementioned combat portions. Lastly, the exploration. This happens in hub-like environments where you can visit certain stores, talk to characters, and complete side quests. One of the main elements of this mode is the video rental store run by the player. Quite a lovely concept in my view because I love older technology, vintage stuff and whatnot, so the game featuring these VHS-inspired visuals, bulky TVs and the cassette tapes is quite charming and original. I don't see that being explored in many games at the moment. And now let me finish this with story. The game is heavy on lore and specific in-universe expressions, so I might not understand everything yet, but I'm rolling with it. Basically, as far as I can grasp, the characters live in a city called New Edidu, which was built after the original Edidu was destroyed. There are danger zones called hollows filled with monsters named Ethereals, and different organizations that either explore or investigate these zones. We play as a proxy who takes on commissions usually posted on the internet, with our group called the Cunning Hares, comprised of Nicole, the boss, Billy Kid, and Andy, the Sigma Girl. Throughout the game, you'll come across many different factions that will explain the design behind notification. Very good. Throughout the game, you'll come across many different factions that will explain the design behind some of the characters. For instance, the aristocratic boys and the mechanic samurais. So, you see, for lore deep divers, this game will provide plenty of content to enjoy. I'm still going through the main story, so there's a lot more to discover and try to wrap my head around. And that's basically it. I've been playing and enjoying Zenless Zone Zero, so I definitely recommend.